I want to speak about this only shortly before I convey it back over to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes I get email, right, and it disappoint me because if people knew me personally and was around me personally, they wouldn't have certain perceptions.
Mm. Yeah.
It's almost unfair, and really, at the end of the day, it rolls off of me. But it's unfair for someone to make an assumption or perception by online experiences only.
Right.
Right. And then how you perceive a person, brothers and sisters don't realize, is also how you view everything based on your upbringing, based on the things that have shaped you from a child to an adult. So there's certain things that people may have dealt with growing up that's a pet peeve to them, or that they hate or don't like based on an experience. And if they tend to see that or think that's in a person indirectly, they'll begin to judge that person based on what happened with them. Mm. You understand? Which I understand. We all are shaped by our upbringing, right? If someone was too loud in the house or did something wrong in the house, and now, boom, what happens when you run into somebody who didn't do anything to you, but a similar conversation or a similar tone happens?
Right.
It does what? It stimulates a negative response because it's taking you back to a negative moment. So I understand how things go. But it's a shame when I read email and see that someone have try to make assessments and don't know me. Mm. Okay. Don't know me. What I can do that will actually help a person, that will actually, I would say, what's good for another person, and they may celebrate me being that way, may have another person view the same interaction or the same thing and hate it. Mm. That's just the way it is. There's no satisfying everyone. So unless you personally know someone, it's hard to make assessments on them. So now, since you can't make an assessment on somebody you don't personally know, well, how do I form an opinion on what that person is then, or how they really are? You can only judge a person by their work. You can only judge a person by their work. And I'm putting that out straight out because why? I know sometimes when you're in a position with so much responsibility, there's a different edge that comes with people like that. Things are no nonsense. Things are this, things are that, where you have to put your foot down and stand on your laurels. And the people are not used to anyone standing on power and having to stand on their laurels and say no, because they don't have the same responsibility over a lot of scenarios where what? That you must have a person in a position who's sometimes brass, who's sometimes short, who's sometimes, because why? You got all these different components with evil trying to get in to destroy everything. That shapes a different type of person. Okay. So again, I would like to be everyone's buddy and this, that, and the other. And I would like, but that happens being around us. But when I'm out there teaching, when I'm out there doing certain things, I understand what the mission is. The mission is to edify, and it isn't personal. And I'm saying this. Let me give one example. I got an email and someone claimed that I denigrate women. Right? and I'm looking at the email. I'm like, this person don't know me. I denigrate women? And I was reading and I'm like, listen, and here it is. 2 days before that, there's a scenario where one of our sisters is in a hospital and the hospital is trying to put the sister down. The husband is flustered because he don't know what to do because he's hearing them and don't know what to do. But I know exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. The husband is there, but I understand being flustered and confused. You need a sound mind to help guide his wife to safety back to her 3 children. So I'm reading this email and I'm like, you don't even understand. We just saved the woman. I didn't have no stake in the game outside of being a shepherd. That's my stake, a big stake. But I didn't have a bigger stake in that woman than her husband. Mm. But yet, if I didn't interact, he would have lost her. The children would have lost a mother. And I read these emails and sometimes, and this is why I don't like reading emails sometimes. And try to delegate it because I'm like, what? With all you've seen on my teachings and what we've done, you can't see the love. Mm. You can't see the love that we've expressed. It takes a serious level of passion and love to do, for God's people, the Most High people, to do this work. To do this work. And I'm like, what? I'm like, we just say, you know how many women we save? Mm. So just because the things that the Most High disagree with when it comes to men or women, we're not ashamed to say it or bite our tongue about it because no one wants to talk about the degenerate, the degeneration of our society and our women's hands in it. Mm. We have to talk about it. It's not about women aren't a monolith. Every woman isn't a degenerate. But there is a segment of our community that cannot be spoken to that are destroying our community. And they so happen to be women. Mm. And if we highlight that, we highlight that. And we can't speak about women wearing their natural stuff and getting their life together and getting their health together, knowing that a time is coming without people thinking that we hate women. And I'm like, what? How do you help such a people? And I sat there and looked at the email and I'm like, you know what? There's no pleasing the people. Because when I'm nice and smiling and all that and nice, smiling and humble and everything, because there's a humility with me, but I'm not going to suppress the natural personality the Most High have given me to stimulate our people. So when I was high, I'm Elder Rawchaa, and wasn't doing anything, there was still people sending email with negativity because we wrestle not with flesh and blood, it's spirits. If they knew us personally, that's why you very rarely, if any time, see those that was with us from the beginning of this gathering of Christ Church. You don't see people any other place. The same people that were here with us in the beginning are still here because they know this is the truth and they know that there's love. There's love amongst the elders of this church, amongst the eldership, and it's genuine too. Nothing is calculating, nothing is planned. The same way, Shabbat, the academy. It ain't like I sat down with a calculator and say, this is how much I can make if we, nah. It was something that I always wanted to do. Did it one time. 35 people were in and it just grew. Because of just wait for a just measure. But somebody will come around 10 years. This is our 44th Academy, Shabbat. Somebody will come at the very end and they'll look at how many people and they'll start calculating. How much is this? And you wasn't there. You wasn't there with the potatoes and onions. Mm. When there was the potatoes and onions and I was homeless. And you know what? Shapat, be honest here, and then we'll roll. Through all of that, you've interacted with me, and I can say the same about you. Same about you. Am I any different than the man you met how many years ago? What, 10, 12 years ago? Am I not the same person you met when I got off the plane in the UK?
Absolutely not.
I'm the same person.
Mm-hmm. House, no house. Place to lay your head, no place to lay your head. Air mattress where you have to somehow in the spirit keep it blocked.
Yeah. And sometimes I use a sense of humor. You know why? And you know why I use a sense of humor? Because through the hardships, sometimes I use a sense of humor to stop crying, to stop from crying. To let everyone know, like, listen, no, don't worry about it. Just hold on with me a little longer. If I don't panic, you don't panic. And that have never changed. I wanted to put that out there. And I just thank the Most High for an opportunity with this academy. And I wish, brothers and sisters, and that time will come because we're all going to be put out soon. We'll be in the wilderness and be able to interact with each other, to know each other, so that, no, because one thing about this online stuff, Shapat, people form opinions, and their opinions is usually shaped through their views of what they like or dislike. So that's all I can say on that. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.